Do you have a score for me as well?
I'll say it goes quite close. I'll say 16-13 for the boards on the map, but I am open to interpretation. Our partners over at LootBet, they have other plans. They expect AVEZ to have a bit of an advantage coming into this and start the round and the pistol round with an advantage to boot.
Well, I think AVEZ is going to be having a fun time for sure on their own map against the Poles themselves. Another dynamic we didn't actually consider. These teams probably know each other pretty well. Kay, in the meanwhile, backing off, running away, and waiting for them to come over. He is, of course, a star player who needs to be hitting those shots. And on the pistol run, looks to be starting things off, but not quite the crispest of aim. Instead, it's Nabra to come in from behind. Kay gets a chance to re-peek off the back of his in-game leader and brings it back to a 4v2. Bomb is down, so money guaranteed, but money's not all you want in this situation. Markosh, however, wants their heads and will instead find the body. Access to fall. Chewy left in a 1v4. Brought down. Easy does it. And there you have it. I believe it's also... Actually, it's only one player. It's only Markosh who keeps his armor intact. But still, convincing victory for AVEZ.
Yep, they keep that advantage. They play pretty far back on the bomb sites. And the fact that there's not a secondary smoke down for the boars to safely try and take those duels. It was a bit of a scrappy endeavor to try and get the entry on the boar side, but of course we'll see the buy. And this is still not the best. They've got the rifles out for sure. It will be a very reliant buy on both Sui and AVEZ to open things up now that they've got these AKs on field. The double peek from AVEZ to contest middle, and this may actually catch AVEZ off guard. They've actually got both of these AKs in position, so this could go wrong.
Okay, he's waiting for the peek. He's found the first with Bialy, swinging up for more, and it will not go wrong. It's really Shen who's the only person who can chime in. But let's not forget, Shen can pick up that AK as well. Unfortunately, the lack of armor is going to be a hindrance, to say the least. Now, nade. Oh, that nade's going to be beautiful. 57 damage done as well. They'll be peeking out. Shen is good for one more, but in the meanwhile, the CTs have also kept the advantage their way, and they back off immediately. Now, Exus and Twao, both with guns to their name. But, well, Exus does have armor as well, so this could be going very, very right for the T side. Exus has crept past. Twao's the one with the bomb, and I'm not sure if Bialy actually spotted out Exus.
Oh.
Now he definitely did. Kyla's been called over for some help, and Twao will try to fight back. Good for one, but Bialy with the immediate dink from the farmers will take him down. That's a lack of head armor coming back to get you, but look at this from K, swinging out wide, getting himself those 2 kills before going down. I like to see him being very aggressive and confident early on.
And they actually caught Sui, I think, quick switching on the secondary entry. He's supposed to be the one that lines up the trade frag, but that small quick switch, it delays him. He gets caught with his pants down. The small decision making. There's no real reason to be switching away like that. You always hate to see it. See, these pistols can get a bit more production. So far, the casualties haven't been too distraught.
Markosh getting aggressive over here is actually pretty important for his economy as well. Like I said before, I think Markosh can be a bit of a sore thumb at times as an offer, but he also has his big pop-off moments and, more importantly, pop-up maps. So I want to see whether he can make Vertigo his own playing ground. Flashbang goes over to allow him another peek, but Shen is still hiding away for Bialy to eliminate him instead. Kyler waiting for the push to come through. Will drop the bomb, and there you have it.
Yeah, this is all just a Marcos and K cleanup. The SMGs finally get in the fray, farm up some cash on themselves, but now do they hold on to it? I certainly could see the argument to get rid of them, but hey, the CT side, they love the bonus rounds. Buying when you really have a weapon already, it's a tough call to make because that CT side economy is such a difficult beast to tame.
It's also particularly interesting because Kay's not getting flashes, which means he's always going to be getting super aggressive early down mid. At least that's what happens whenever Kay doesn't get flashes. Navrot, though, great nade comes out, will do a little bit of damage. Could have been more, but unfortunately the T's hadn't quite progressed that far yet. The CTs very quickly accumulating around the A bomb side, expecting a fast play. And K in the back lines has found one. That's the advantage of the MP9 getting super aggressive early on. He smokes himself off this time, and he goes back to the bridge, expecting there to be someone on the flank, and that someone has been flanked himself. Kai let a fall, K will go with. It's back to a 3 versus 3, despite the T's losing a big advantage early on. Perhaps the double Ks being a little bit overzealous in hunting for kills.
I mean, this has put a massive disruption in the backlines of the BOARS. It seemed like they were pretty adamant in taking a more A ramp control and slowly progressing that way, but now they have to clear things out. They have to at least honor the fact that AVEZ are pushed into these prime positions to trump any sort of A-side execute. And now the smokes will sail over. It's the B-bomb side instead. A lot of pressure mounting for Marcos. He'll be smoked off entirely in the Endeavor. In fact, one smoke landing directly on towards the generator. I love to see that. It flushes him out into the open. Marcos misses the shot. And with this bomb now getting planted an advantage, I mean, that Molotov, it really needs to do a lot of work, because for now, IZAKO BOARS are going to have enough space to set up into some strong post plants.
Whilst waiting for the peak to come in, now brought with the farmers. He is not going to fall. The shoulder peak is enough to at least get the position. Then he gets behind default and takes down Twao, leaving Shui and AVEZ to do a lot of dirty work. But there are dirty men who are ready to get bloody. Yali to fall, Navrot to go with, and that will be AVEZ to close out the round. I really like that you pointed out that smoke. It was very cool. I'm not sure if that was the intention to also, you know, gray screen the player behind generator as well, but it both gray screens him and blocks out any, you know, wiggle room from mid as well. So that's very cool.
Yeah, it was a strange one to see because, like you said, it could have just been a misthrow, but it does so much in pressuring Marcos, right? It's harder to sort of swing into the angle, especially when the entirety of the site, you have like no reference points to line up your crosshair properly. And well, through the smoke, Noron attempted, but through the smoke, he will be found. So, a nice start for the BOARS on the default. They have to have the understanding that this is a bit of a scrap together buy as well. So the SMG on Kyler may not get too much accomplished. This is one of those tricky positions where, as a CT side, because you've been aggressive in the previous gun rounds, in some of these previous rounds in general, it can be quite easy to sort of turtle up, play so passively and give so much control to the BOARS. Just honoring that they'll respect the impending pushes.
Oh, this is troubling because K, he's going to smoke himself off, but really he's providing more distraction for Marcos than anything else. But Marcos is an AWP. He finds the first kill. They can't rush up alley behind him. They don't know how many players are there, and they're so worried that K could be catching them off as well. Instead, they back off because of Marcos's pressure as he takes down X's as well, and K will be able to reposition above the sandbags, finds another, giving Marcos a chance for 3. His repeaks have been perfect, and IZAKO BOARS just can't deal with him at this stage. Shen in a 1 versus 3, and with 20 seconds left, he's just caught off.
Yeah, what an effort from Marcos. I mean, it's 1 by 1 from the IZAKO BOARS, and he capitalizes full fold. And it comes down a lot to the pressure that K is building. They don't want to let that sandbags player escape, but it also means that they have to divert attention from potentially tracking down and trading that AWP. I wasn't sure the reposition was going to be the most efficient place to put that off. There obviously can be some stronger angles you can take to start off the rounds, but they play it slow. They wait for the IZAKO BOARS to push into them, and the AWP just does the rest. Marcos, a great performance in that round, but the pace from IZAKO BOARS this time, wrapping the B bomb site. It's a 1-for-1 exchange. Marcos back towards B. This time, he will have to do things a lot quicker because the pressure, it's just going to be too much for him. They get it into the 3-on-3. This bomb has to be retrieved. So it can't get planted yet, but oh dear, the rotation's still there from AVEZ, so he can't get the bomb safely.
And with the Molotov going through to actually extinguish the flames, Navrot can push forward and provide a lot more pressure as well. Double peek comes in onto Twao. He can't decide his opponent, and Navrot will find himself the second swing as well. He's so good with the M4A1S, he almost makes it look like a good gun. Almost.
Yeah, that there sounds like some deep hatred for the A1S in there.
No, but Navrot and a few players do make it look really good when you see how incredible they are with that first bullet accuracy. Like, boom. It's great stuff.
Boom.
Hey man, I'm sound effects for days. You know me.
Yeah. I have heard and seen a few.
Oh, that's a cute nade. Unfortunately, doesn't really catch anyone out, and Kyler's position is given away. He's noticed. What is that, Kyler?
Okay.
So aggressive, and Marcos even finds a kill because of the Molotov that was there preemptively. Kyler didn't check the angle because of the molly, but he does end up falling. However, Marcos is still here. Follows up, Twao is down, and his position has been given away. IZAKO BOARS are just being completely choked out. This is a masterclass from AVEZ so far.
Yeah, and that's a small decision from Kyler that had IZAKO BOARS not just been getting brutalized elsewhere on the map, it could have been a very punishable position. It still can be, given that Exus has his hands on an M4. Granted, there's little utility to support, but the good news is that the IZAKO BOARS do have armor, so at least aim punch shouldn't be too much of a factor. We'll see if he can compound this into something a bit more expensive. No, the angle from Norrod is very strong. AVEZ is able to trade, but I think this is still going to be a CT side round. Yeah, Bialy is there to plug up the hole immediately. A 6-1 start for AVEZ on their CT side. It's had a few bumps and a few cracks showing, but they are very much impressing. But of course, you know who else is impressing? Our lovely partners over at Hellcase, who are the biggest and most known case opening website with almost 100 cases, updated case battle, upgraders, dozens of giveaways per month, and more absolutely unique features. You won't get bored with Hellcase. And you can use the promo codes that were on screen, and I think there's ways you can see them in the chat as well to grab what you deserve.
Indeed. They are very impressive. It's true. Big resume they've got. But Navrot right now getting aggressive, trying to find something through. I like these cute little angles that they're going for. He's a little bit less cute, but he's a little bit more effective. Takes away AVEZ's life, and with that again, the advantage going towards the CT side early on.
And we haven't seen... Okay, this lurking play from Tao. I mean, that could have worked a few rounds ago because AVEZ have been giving a lot of control to single anchor players on that CT side, but this time they have a bit more reinforcements. The double swing from middle is absolutely brutal for IZAKO BOARS. Now they have to try and make up some ground. Kyler's repositioned. He's found the bomb. Exus pressured. Kyler really locks that site down. The fact that AVEZ go for a more traditional setup and they read into the B side and play for IZAKO BOARS, so well done.
I think this is also where we're seeing AVEZ play a slightly different style to what we normally see, and that's because of the Polish Derby, at least I'd like to believe. Because that's one of the things about playing with your countrymen who are maybe a tier below you, theoretically, in the rankings. You're always thinking, yeah, I'm not losing these guys. I'm so much better than them. And you're ready to get aggressive because you know them. You know, you've probably played with them at some point in some pugs and whatnot. You probably know these players individually. You're thinking, yeah, this is my mate. I'm just better than him. I'm just going to peek him out wide like this. K and Navrot getting aggressive against Deagles. Marcos as well chimes in, goes out for aggressive peeks the way I'm not really used to seeing from Marcos. Actually, I think that's one of his biggest failings as an operator sometimes, that he doesn't get aggressive enough. And I'm loving this Marcos.
Yeah, this has been a speedy start for him. He's on 12 kills, 9 rounds have passed. He's, you know, we've seen some impressive numbers in the Malta vibes, at least in prior weeks, but yeah, Marcos he's getting the full run of the map. He can go A, he can go B, it doesn't really matter. AVEZ are happy to accommodate. I'm just wondering when the turnaround is going to happen for IZAKO BOARS. What needs to happen to really get this T side jump started, because at the moment the engine's out of gas.
Oh, Navrot, he's gotten so aggressive. How has he found 2 kills? He just moved through the T-side smoke, moves back, looking for more. Twao is good for 2 at the very least. And now you're again in the precarious 3 versus 3 situation. where the CTs should theoretically be in a disadvantage, but Kyler's positioning makes it so you have to get this kill if you're AVEZ. Kyler is coming in from behind, just making sure that they can't rotate back towards that B bomb site. So this is not going to be easy days at all. And now Kyler, forget the B bomb site, he's in T-spawn. He could even catch off Shen from behind. Shen's not expecting this whatsoever. He's thinking if there's going to be a push coming in, it's going to be from mid, it's going to be from somewhere or the other. Instead, look at this, Kyler.
Timings.
He's still going to see him though. And with that, Shen is down and out. 3 versus 2. Information given away that they're coming A as well. And Marcos uses it to swing out wide. Takes down Twao. And Exis is left alone versus 3. He's not even had a duel so far with the AWP.
I don't even think that's a forecastable result either. I don't think he'll be given those opportunities. They're just waiting at jump up. Should he, even make a sound key? But Bialy gets a little bit curious. He peeks before it, and AVEZ continue this roll on the CT side. This is very worrying. I mean, just the advantage and the positional advantage that AVEZ are able to get. Those kills from Norot, sure, they're great, but it still ends up in an equal exchange. That still technically favors the T side, but because there's so much pressure felt towards A, Kyler gets a strong position through B. I am just loving the fact that AVEZ, as soon as they feel any sort of pushback from their opposition, they're willing to push themselves and take some advantages right back.
IZAKO BOARS calling for a timeout at a place where I like it. I would have liked it a few rounds ago, but at least it's there. In the meanwhile, I would really like to see Shen getting a bit more antsy in mid, to be honest, because in my experience on Vertigo, Shen has found the most success when he's sort of left to his own devices on mid to catch off that flanker, to cut off someone getting aggressive, to get aggressive on his own, work his own angles, work his own magics. I really like him in that position, but so far it's been more of a concentrated effort towards either side. And let's wait and see whether that adjustment comes out. Right now, Shui does end up throwing a flashbang out for Shen, if I'm not wrong. But Marcos, again, has got an aggressive, and that nade won't do much damage. But Marcos doesn't really care because he's got an op.
No, he's taking up a prime position. A bit one and done in its nature, but... well, we saw the results he pulled up last time. So you cannot fault him for going for a bit more. Shen, oh, yeah, this is that angsty play in towards middle you're talking about. Shen getting a bit of space for the team, a little bit of pressure mounting. Norot still at the sandbags. They should get Molotov out, but still yet to be deployed, still yet to flush him out into the open. The flash comes through, they peek as well. I don't know that they spotted him, but that should at least give an indicator that there's a player in that position. Oh, there's that Molotov, the smoke immediately. Kai is up close. He's looking to alleviate some pressure, but he's lost his supporting teammate. That's the distraction. Norot, could have potentially gotten a kill right over. Marcos getting aggressive above the smoke. So far, so good for the IZAKO BOARS. This could be that moment, the singular moment in which they get that advantage, hold on to it, and start getting some rounds on this T side. But Kyler and Bialy still yet to face.
Looking to go in. Smokes go out for the retake. Can Bialy find the first duel? Onto Twao is the big question. He seems to have an inkling of where he is. Twao is down. And with that, Bialy has so much more freedom. Only really needs to worry about Eiley primarily. They're spamming away. Kyler's there to give backup, but Kyler's backup is not good enough. AVEZ and AVEZ survive with the combined 29, well, 31 actually. I just suck at maths. 31 HP. But it is going to be the second round for IZAKO BOARS. And with that, let's not forget, AVEZ has not been particularly frugal in their economical decisions. They are one loss away from being, monetarily screwed.
Yeah, given the massive advantage, it's often come to these 3v3s. And that's been enough for AVEZ to keep their economy afloat. But it doesn't leave a lot of gas in the tank for the... for a few bumps in the road. So we'll see if this is going to be that comeback that I think we were all kind of expecting. IZAKO BOARS with a slow start and AVEZ hot off the gate.
Does fuel economy of cars actually go down if there's bumps in the road? I feel like it does.
I mean, I would assume so, but
I'm not a cars guy myself.
Yep, I just say things and hope that they're mildly relevant.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right about that. It just made me think about it for a second. However, I think IZAKO BOARS have got a lot of thinking to do as well. They can't just win all the aim duels, and they know it. So slower approach, but when there is flames, they are ready to fight back as soon as there's any flashbang attempts. Navrot with a flashbang assist coming over. His position's been given away. 12 peeks out. Navrot's been felled. Okay, in the back line's flashing over. Will now have to defend on his lonesome while he waits for Bialy to be given a relevant duel.
And they've allowed Marcos to reinforce this A bomb site. I actually think this may be a mistake. The fact that they slowed down and allowed the AWP to take position. There's no AWP to contest it, really. IZAKO BOARS will get one more. Kyler and Bialy, though, they chime back. The 3 versus 2, but the HP situation for IZAKO BOARS is dire. This is, well, assuming the most likely, but they don't have nades. They can't really prevent that plant. AVEZ is the one trapped in the bomb site, while other players will look for headshot angles to make use of the HP the best they can.
Bialy being down means Marco should probably be saving at this point. He doesn't. Again, the problem is always they don't have the nades to actually deal with these low HP players, but can they just do it by the old-fashioned manner with bullets straight to them? M4A1 has picked up. Exes finds Marcos's head, and he will take him down. And Yubi, at this point, I think AVEZ might be getting a little bit too used to winning duels, because you're not seeing them saving nades for the retakes. You're not seeing them saving Molotovs. And a lot of these rounds, we're seeing those very same nades, not the Molotovs, but the nades being used early, but not really getting any significant damage. So that's the point where you're wondering, okay, maybe we just start waiting. You know, you need someone to be pressing tab and checking your utility damage early, after every round, so you know. And that's an actual thing, by the way. But speaking of actual things, Shen goes out, gets himself 2 kills.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, especially with Vertigo, it's such an exploitable position to be in because that A bomb site is so compacted. The nades get so much better efficiency.
Okay. Does almost find himself the AWP kill, but
I mean, AVEZ is, this is a done deal.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think a lot of teams don't do that, actually, the pressing tab to check utility damage and adjusting their nades. And I think on Vertigo, that's very important. Might sound like, and also to those of you watching at home, the way utility damage works in the match scorecard that you get when you press tab, it doesn't update till the next round. So don't bother checking it while the round's still going on. You're just going to die when you press tab and then flame me, which is probably fine too.
But hey, perfect for my matchmaking games.
9-4, IZAKO BOARS have been given a chance to make it 6, and it all comes down to this round.
Yeah, they go for broke. That nice start that AVEZ had in this first half, it could come crumbling down as the IZAKO BOARS are fighting back. The setup here towards ramp, though, they're looking to get a bit more control. The deep smoke in. Exis is going to feel a world of hurt if he stays. He's actually leaving AVEZ behind the boxes. The flashes will come through. It doesn't fully blind him, but they counter flash. They try and take the fight straight on, but AVEZ, it's not going to work out too well when there's 3 CTs staring you down.
Oh. This position that K is currently holding has been described to me by Maui Think as the most overpowered position in all of Counter-Strike. I'm sure he's not wrong, but it doesn't help his case that the second he said that the guy just died without any kills. So K will do the same, and with that, Alpha backs off. Shout out to Maui's Think.
History doomed to repeat itself.
Yeah, I mean, he's right, by the way. I think that's actually the most overpowered position, but it's so funny how many times I see players just dying.
Well, there may be more death forecasted. Norot in this position, there's going to be some steps towards A ramp that will actually prompt the reaction. There's the peak, the instant trade bateau, and Exis has the flank, so they bring it to a numbers advantage. Bialy, oh, he's privy to the flank. He's privy to the idea of somebody lurking in the back lines, but they're rotating over. IZAKO boards with the fact that the B bomb site was completely vacant. Look at the time. This is going to really be cut close, and if they get the bomb on the crosshair, that could be it. That could be the round. I don't even know if they still have time. They could get this dialed in. Yes, just in the nick of it. This is really, really dangerous now. Bialy is so committed. His teammate has to come by and try and provide reinforcements. Exis getting baited out by the shoulder. Just a small pixel, a hairline angle to be taken. But there's the shot from Exis. He brings it to the 1-on-2. He can try and play the positional game. The HP situation is looking dire for everybody involved. Marcos, 1 HP, 2, 4. It's going to be IZAKO boards that get a 5th round together. A really, really important round to win because this forecast now a 6th for them.
That round would have been won by AVEZ if they had an M4A4 instead of the M4A1S.
That's a bold position to take.
No, quite literally.
The extra fire rate could, it could definitely play a big factor.
And I guarantee it.
God, the slim margins though, man, in that round.
And again, those are coin flip rounds. Those do just come down to 50-50s. Now, Brod has found a lot of success here first, but this time around, not quite the same. The aggression was necessary. It's understandable, but Kay's the one who really comes out and keeps it going with 2 quick kills. Bialy will make sure AVEZ can't swing for another, and with that, Shen is left alone in a 1 versus 3. IZAKO boards still can't guarantee their 6th round unless Shen swings this out and somehow squeaks it together. But with Kyler revealing his position, Shen does get a nice flick, but does lose quite a bit of HP in the process as well.
Yeah, this is looking worse and worse for him in the clutch. Oh, they'll peek. A slow reaction from everyone involved, but AVEZ get to the 10th. It almost seemed like the fact that they had these worse weapons, the aggression that they were willing to implement in the round, actually works out in their favor because of the lower buy.
I want to quickly point out something Kay did over there, which is that normally, if you're the T-side player, you see the CT side guy get a kill and not immediately aggress. You're thinking, okay, he's going to back off. Kay stops, pauses, and then straight sideways reposition. So he's not backed off. He's actually gotten a little bit more aggressive, exposed himself to a few more angles. And that's a dumb decision to make when I put it that way. But it's a correct decision to make when you know you need to reset your off angle for another off angle to take the subsequent duel against a superior weapon. That's the reason why Kay is able to get that 2nd kill, because by the time the T-side player adjusts his AK onto him, you've got yourself the fire rate, which is just absurd, and the MP9 comes out on top over there. So really nicely done from him, just the small micro plays. One thing while we wait for the pistol round to begin, I want to point out is when we get the time for like an eco round or something, remind me to tell you why I think the M4A1S actually might be good on this map, which is, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's there. But I also can't believe these odds from our partners at LootBet. A 1.06 to 765 is incredibly surprising to me, given the fact that IZAKO boards have brought it back from a 9-1 to a 10-5. I think I favor AVEZ to win, but that's really, really one-sided.
That's not the most one-sided odds we've seen from our partners.
True.
We've seen some really catastrophic stuff.
It was a 1 to 17, right?
Yeah. It was either that or I think 14 is the one I remember, but that may have been one-upped. Now, let's say a slow round here from AVEZ to start things off. They've got the utility to play off of later on into the round, so they're just making sure that IZAKO boards don't get a bit overzealous, maybe a bit investigative.
Oh. Double nade goes out, nicely placed. Exis is very, very unhappy about that one. IZAKO boards already in a disadvantage, but with 4 players on the A bomb site and a flashbang going over. K takes a deal. He saw it coming his way, and as a result of it, will win it out. Exis to fall 2. AVEZ is good for 1, and his position is important, but Twao needs to be the distraction, and the distraction is Twao's death. AVEZ can use that distraction, but he would have liked to have a living teammate instead, as K will eliminate him. Shen, 1v3, yet again, trying to save the day. Not very likely, given the fact that there might even be a knife in his back sometime soon. 15 seconds on the clock, and you've got to be careful as you take the duels. Kyler comes in from behind, though, and will seal the deal.
Yeah, a tough position to be in the clutch. The patience pays off there from AVEZ. They work the map slowly. IZAKO boards don't take advantage. They're not sort of pushing elsewhere on the map. They do get that flank accomplished, but very, very late. Actually, no, sorry, it was AVEZ that got the flank off because there was nobody that even really pushed the advantage.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just a whole lot of map control that AVEZ were going to be happy with going into that pistol. And unfortunately for the BOARS, it doesn't start now. There needs to be these turnaround moments. Okay.
Now for my favorite segment, which is Tea Time rants over eco rounds while AVEZ gets deagle kills and makes Tea Time feel like he made a mistake.
The A1S.
Yes. On the A-bomb site, because of the frequency of execution, because of the frequency of smokes actually being thrown down, the A1S is very, very good when you consider that you can't trace it back. So the utility damage that the T side can do to you is theoretically much more limited because they're not going to be able to use your tracers to just throw nades over at you. And also, it's just a lot more invisible damage that could potentially come through. So I actually think there's an argument to be made for the M4A1S to be somewhat useful on the A-bomb site. However, that's also assuming that you're using nades to compensate for the lack of damage to some extent. So could be something to play out around with, you know, crunch some numbers if you're into that.
I mean, it also costs less, so...
That's true.
You know,
more
helps
nades.
you out. Yeah. See, I don't know where you stand on this, but especially because the prices changed between the two weapons, I firmly believe that there should be the option to buy both while you're in-game, so...
Yes, because right now the Thomas is just better than the M4A1S, to be honest.
It is even cheaper, yeah, true.
Yep.
And about as efficient.
Yep. So, with that, and of course, you know, you've got Burst Fire, which you're a big fan of. Lots of M4A4s, though, is what we still like to see. I'm still uncertain about my A1 theory, but IZAKO boards at the very least will give a chance to represent the A4. 12-5, the BOARS are very much on the back foot, but can they bring it back as K is getting a little bit feisty with the Mac 10. Sees AVEZ trying to spam, but AVEZ has used that to bait him in and take him down.
It's all about efficiency for the BOARS. The utility is certainly limited, but they're holding on to these smokes for quite some time. They're not implementing them early into the round, not trying to apply that early pressure. Instead, it's going to be waited for longer and longer. Oh, the double nade. There's AVEZ hitting the deck. He was the one tagged down low at the very least for IZAKO board, so it's not going to be a casualty that's too hard pressed. But now they can run delay tactics. Look at the timing here from Toho. It's going to slow things down and make things a lot more awkward for AVEZ, but Sui gets aggressive in the meanwhile, and he's lost his life.
Oh, that's a very good flashbang. Wow does still get aggressive, though, behind it and gets himself another kill. Trying to chime in, but the bomb will be planted. Markosh to find one more. 3 versus 2. Tyler dancing around default box will find Shen as he thought he had the opportunity to get aggressive. With that, it's just X's 1v3. Probably best to go for the save, but when you're 5-13 down, I feel like X's would rather go for this. Swinging out wide. And that swing is very quickly broken down and deconstructed and told that, hey, this doesn't belong in a playground, go home.
Man, just look at the kill disparity for AVEZ. Everybody is at a minimum of 14 kills.
Yep.
It's been a collective effort, and the IZAKO boards have been lacking. I really do believe it will just take a couple rounds in a row for them to start chaining some more together. But it's really about finding that confidence to their step. It's so far, AVEZ are just having the run of the show.
Well, Nabro finds Trow. I think Markosh has quieted down actually quite a bit. He's gone from 12-3 to now being 17-8, if I'm not wrong. And a lot of that comes down to some, you know, fancy footwork from IZAKO boards too. But I would like to see him on the T side doing what he is right now as he adds one more to the tally, even if they are just eco frags. I want to see Markosh find his confidence as an opera because I think he's such a talented player, but there's so many games where I've just seen him capitulate. So that's always a shame at times. Smokes and mollies coming out to make sure Ali can be gone through, and I believe that this is probably going to be it. AVEZ finding the timing seems to be incredibly unlikely, although he does pick up the AK-47 and swings out. Not sure if he's noticed. Going for the reload might have been inadvisable, but bullets are needed apparently. And AVEZ will be moving forward. His teammate has fallen. He finds Marcos, who hasn't realized that AVEZ is already up scaffolding. But this is still going to be a very difficult round for him to pair to chain together, as he's jiggle peeking out. Doesn't expect BOARS to have swung out behind default. And there you have it. 14-5. AVEZ are completely dominating IZAKO BOARS right now.
I felt like we had the one perspective that was probably the most confusing out of any other player.
Yeah.
Like, you look at any other of the IZAKO boards, you know, they're fighting for their lives on the A-bomb site. There's reloads happening on the flank. And there's players being unchecked on the AVEZ side. It was a confusing time, but the result remains the same. IZAKO BOARS have yet to find their footing on the CT side. Maybe AVEZ can get things started on the AWP, but it's going to be a long road to really fight back into this one. AVEZ are on the precipice of forcing a win in the series, the first map of the day.
Wow. Actually, before that, Marcos is going to be swinging outwards. He doesn't swing all the way, so Wow, he's slightly safer, and with the Molotov coming over, he knows better than to maintain position. Instead, ask for AVEZ to come over. The flashbang is incredibly good, prevents him from pushing through the smoke to find someone, and Twao will be overwhelmed soon, but his teammates have done some damage, and AVEZ will make sure it's still an advantage for the team, which is very quickly lost and then regained as Shui comes in. Marcos left in a 1 versus 2 without the bomb is not an ideal scenario, but at the very least, he can drop down silently over here, and that could be the difference maker. AVEZ holding his line of sight. Bomb's been recovered. I believe it can be planted as well, as Marcos will not be planting for default either, so he can back off a little bit more safely. Shui doesn't realize, but he could have actually prevented. Oh no, AVEZ's hip is visible. Shui was expecting the bomb to be on default, and so was AVEZ because of it. They're not checking the difficult angles, and Marcos will be able to get away with murder as he gets the 1v2 as well. 15th round on the board for AVEZ, and that was picture perfect for Marcos.
He finds the perfect position, the timing as well, to circumvent those players. That is incredibly well played. And I think he had to just do that double take. He gets into cover. He sees that they are completely unaware as to how he could have repositioned. Excellent stuff. And a lot of respect being given by the IZAKO BOARS. If they had simply fought for the bomb control a bit more, there's certainly a line of reasoning where that plays into the AVEZ camp, gives Marcos a better chance, but he's on the AWP, so you'd effectively look to trade things out, but this may just be done and dusted. The AVEZ players are feeling it on this first map. They're trying to hold on for dear life on the BOARS side. Shen, the trigger discipline doesn't work out for them. AVEZ have the run-of-the-mill on this B-bomb site and a 2 versus 4 to keep themselves in the game. IZAKO BOARS, can they pull it off?
AVEZ and Shui. It's now or never, and BOARS is making a pretty convincing case for never at this rate. BOARS moves fast, will be spotted out in the back, and suddenly a 2v2 is here. Information on the CTs has been gained, and that's valuable, but not quite as much as having your teammates alive. Marcos' position is perfect, but he doesn't quite land the shot. Kyler's going to be flashing backwards to see if he can swing out and cancel the defuse. He's not getting it, though, and the defuse will come through, as it is going to be the 6th round for the CT side. Right at the nick of time, they're able to get it done, and IZAKO BOARS keep their hopes alive, even if their dreams might not be.
God, that is such a classic. They get the defuse, and you get the kill right after. Immediately after. Well, they keep themselves in this, albeit by a... They're hanging on a thread, really, and for dear life. Has to be 9 in a row, or a 10 in a row, really, to get things back in order, force an overtime, and Oh, that was a very close round. I don't see that happening, not just yet. This position from Sui as well, they seem to be privy to it. They're looking to clear it. Nora dodges the flash as well, and there's the double entry from AVEZ. Things going right for the T side. IZAKO BOARS, this could be it. A 3 versus 5. AVEZ, though, good position to get a trade right back, but K is there. And they have a flank established. They've taken middle control, and this could be a big issue for the IZAKO BOARS. In fact, they may just reposition on that T side. They may just go out knowing the fact that this B bomb site is fully clear.
Well, yes, but they could also just kill Shen over here, in all fairness.
True.
It's a 1v4. He's got himself the farmhouse. He's got a knife out against an AK on the other side. Bialy, they shot him down 16-6, and there you have it. IZAKO BOARS, we painted a rosy picture of possibilities and endless potential, and indeed, endless potential is there, but it has not quite been realized far. Vertigo goes away in a very one-sided manner, if we're being perfectly honest. There was a little bit of a glimmer of hope in there as the mild comeback started through on their T side of IZAKO BOARS, but it wasn't really able to completely materialize in any sort of shape or form.
And it came down to the fact that they were just so confident taking these aim duels to start this game off, and they just rolled with it, just kept taking fights. I mean, like you were saying, uncharacteristic for Marcos to be so aggressive with the ult, but he was making it work on that CT side, man. He was really feeling himself.
Look, I know exactly what's going through his head at that point, because every time I'm even playing Face It, and I know this will be a weird analogy, every time I'm playing Face It against other Pakistanis, the first thing that my semi-pro friends say is, I know this guy. I play with him on LAN once. He's terrible. Watch me peek him and kill him. That's the extra element of the derby that comes in, the national derby that's always there, which is that there's always a bit of extra intimidation or a bit of extra, hey, I'm just better than you. I know you. You were 2 streets down. Hey, what do you think you are? You know, there's always a little bit of that element coming in. It's also one of the reasons why, up until Straws went to their godlike form, Dignitas or North were also generally always a bit difficult sometimes to come through. With everything said and done, though, IZAKO BOARS not quite delivering a performance that we wanted, and AVEZ, despite some instability coming in, like you mentioned before, in their past few months, this was a very convincing performance, in particular from Marcos, and also want to give some love to Navrod as well. I think he did incredibly well and always does for being an in-game leader.
Yeah, it was a real big team effort from AVEZ. We'll see if IZAKO BOARS can bounce back, though. We've got, Train coming up as the next pick. That kind of plays into some of AVEZ's strengths as well, but this map pool was always going to be a bit of a bounce and a back and forth between the two teams, but AVEZ looking really good right now.
Well, with that being said, Malta Vibes brought to you by Gaming Malta, home of gaming excellence. We'll be back in just a bit. We're going to take a quick break, and when we're done with that, it'll be Train on the card. See you soon.
Nice shot. Lock and load. Wow, very good. Let me show you how it is done. Yeah, no. maniacal fights I've been to.
Welcome back. We had a domination in that first map, but now we're back to Malta vibes, brought to you by Gaming Malta, home of gaming excellence. And we've got ourselves trained between AVEZ and IZAKO BOARS. Last map was, of course, Vertigo picked by AVEZ themselves. Now comes out train picked by the BOARS. And I know I went into this Yumi saying that, you know, Marcos as an opera can be a little bit disappointing. And then he comes through and gets the most insane game I've seen. So maybe train's a bit harder than what I thought for IZAKO BOARS.
Yeah, I think it did really come down to who was just more prepared to start off the game. And AVEZ come hot off the presses, ready to go. They get that great start on Vertigo. And we talked a little bit we talked a little bit about how the map pools are very similar between the two teams already. So getting a leg up in the series is a huge benefit to AVEZ. I think Train will be just as difficult for IZAKO if they don't really start punishing these sort of dry faces from the AVEZ lineup. Like you said, they got a bit confident in just taking aim duels as opposed to running anything sort of crossfire oriented or even really spacing themselves that well on the CT side if they wanted to get aggressive. But they were just taking heads. So if IZAKO boys don't come in, start punishing that type of aggression that I think AVEZ may still implement in this game, it's things that could spell disaster for the BOARS.
I mean, I think Marcos in particular as an opera was re-peeking out 3 times per round whenever he got a kill. So, you know, there's aggression and then there's re-peeking the exact same angle 3 times per round as an opera. And listen, if it works for you, good on you. I'm not saying that at all. I think Marcos made it look fantastic. He used his hot streak of form, and that's a very important skill to be able to identify that, hey, look at these hands. They're goddamn hot right now. Let's go. You know, it's important to be able to do that. But what's even more important right now for me is who wins that knife round, and we're going to be heading into it because the question is, who gets the CT side? Who gets to start off their hot streak of form potentially early? Because if AVEZ just gets to continue onwards, that's going to be very troublesome. So let's jump into the knife round and see how exactly that'll be shaping out.
Yeah, if AVEZ get the CT side, I don't expect anything different from how Vertigo went. Just a few early rounds here or there, and then they'll just start getting in your face. So I usually, we don't usually place too much importance on these knife rounds, but yeah, this could I don't know. I'm not liking where this is headed. Is all I'm saying.
Well, I will say that IZAKO BOARS on their CT side particularly is quite fun to watch because I really like how Shen can be very aggressive towards T-Con and actually keeping control over A. One place where they sometimes become a little bit weak is actually their defense over the B bomb site. So maybe that was just the couple of games I've seen them play, though, and we'll have to wait to find out. Right now, our pals, our friends, our partners over at LootBet are saying, you know what? It's a little bit more 50-50, but we're still favoring AVEZ, and I can see why after the incredibly dominant first game performance that we saw coming out. So 2 sets of utility on the T side, double Molotov is there as well. I'm very interested to see what exactly those are going to be used for. That's generally to actually molly out the back of the Ivy and back of the bomb train itself, but Bialy brought down early, not a good sign for the CTs. Marcos, though, does trade.
And they'll have a crossfire for when they emerge out of Ivy. Norot the first to get the shot through, but the flash is absolutely beautiful to make it more difficult. Kyler trying to get a backstab on the way through the smoke. He'll go to dealt with. It's still onto a 2-on-2, and they've lost position. They've lost control of Ivy. They cannot wrap this site in the same efficacy that they had before. And Marcos, that's a crucial frag to win, but not going to quite land. Oh, the shot, Shuey not finding the opportunity right back. Marcos gets it done. 3 kills for him. AVEZ, they'll take the pistol.
Can I just point out that Kyler just had the best pistol round of his life, not because he aced it, but because he goes in, he's like, well, I'm going through the smoke, so no one's damaging me. You know what? I'm keeping my Kevlar alive. Nice. Oh, look, there's a kit over here. Nice. Oh, a Molotov as well. Nice. He picks up a kit, a Molotov, and keeps all his Kevlar alive. This mine's loaded. And that'll be significant going into the next round if he can keep them alive again, because you know, doesn't really need to buy the rifle all over again. IZAKO BOARS, in the meanwhile, are particularly susceptible to being wrecked by some UMPs, by some MP9s. They've got no armor. They've got basically no utility, no weaponry either, if I'm not wrong. Is there a P250? I don't think so. Yeah, they're all Glocks, so should be some money farmed.
Yeah, Norat's just treating this like a piss around. He's just running around with a USP, some head armor. He's kind of cheating a little bit with getting the head armor, but hey, additional security. Kyler just gets some easy frags as they all descend into his crosshair. And, well, a clean round on the CT side to start.
Listen, man, when you're role-playing with a sword in your hand, it's not a sharp sword. He's gonna get head armor, okay? No one's actually wearing an 80-kilogram suit of armor when they go to Comic-Con, Yumi.
Well, I mean, it's like it's like somebody having a sword fight and
somebody's wearing a gun. Yes.
Someone's wearing full armor. You know, like a knight in shining armor, and then the other one's just in normal clothes.
A peasant.
Yeah, that's how it be sometimes.
So, most of all wars. 12, however, will be trying to come in from behind. Shen has already fallen. K's aggression has paid dividend, but Navrat's the one to find one more before the equalization is there. Marco so far yet to use his AWP to any sort of fruition, although it is the first time he's bought it, but maybe that can be recovered later on. Smoke in front of Navrat will be dissipating in a couple of seconds, and AVEZ is very quickly going to back off before it does, so this needs to be a heads-up play, and indeed it is. Kyler catches them off, and that might be it. 2 versus 3. AVEZ, they're feeling very good about this.
I felt like the only way in, there needs to be some incredible entries. There's the first, at least, from Exis. They're identifying the timing as well, but Kyler, so sharp to the trigger, gets another kill before falling back. So Sui has a bit more space to work off of. Don't think they're going to quite give him that same chance. Kyler taking a lot of damage. Sui may just bypass both of them. Yeah, he's out of there. He wants to get towards the B bomb site instead. Kyler has read into this, however, but oh dear, the double bluff. Kyler gets baited out. Norod almost hits the deck. Sui gets that kill. If he had found that frag, the round flips on its head, but AVEZ keep it together. They have 3 in a row now.
And 3 in a row is a little bit more concerning. I hate this decision, actually. Never mind. I thought Markosh was going to save, or, you know, buy an MP9 or something. Goes for the full AWP plus armor. I really hate this decision, personally. I think even just keeping a USP over here is fine. Worst case scenario is T-side 4 spies with Tech 9s and your teammates have to clean it up. Going for the opponent situation where there's Deagles on the other side, that's really scary. Even if your teammates recover it, the kind of economical damage that's dealt to your person is so insane. Your utility will be hamstrung later on at some point, and that's the kind of kill, though, which can come in. So Shen takes on K early on. Kyler's position is good, but he has been detected.
Yeah, this could be very punishable from the IZAKO boards if they get the same production as the rest of the team. Shen started it off, but he is battled and bruised. It is a slow creep. AVEZ are playing so far back. The fact Bialy gets the kill on Shen, that's kind of an expected result, but they're just trying to identify where these players are as fast as possible. Nora, if he'd taken the damage, that could have been a poor sight to see, but oh, okay. I thought for sure Bialy would get that frag, but Nora is really close and there's no real chance. And there was certainly the makings of a round there for IZAKO boards, getting maybe a plant down, securing a bit more space on that A bomb site, but some crucial kills from AVEZ to dodge that bullet.
Well, at the very least, Marcos does also keep his AWP alive, so my worries and concerns are off not. IZAKO boards now, though. Where is Exis going to play from? I think this is where I'm interested to see his style of play. Can we take a look at Exis very quickly, guys? Thank you. So it'll be aggressive towards Ivy early on. They like to throw the smoke to make sure there's no Molotovs that can actually come over and whatnot. But AVEZ so far have not indicated any signs of early super aggressive control on Ivy to be potentially taken either. So that is going to be there. It also gives you a bit of a one-way smoke, obviously, with the garbage cans as well. Navrat's positioning is going to be very good, but he's not cut off. Exis misses a shot. A Molotov for himself as well towards the back of the electric box. He peeks out again. He's got another kill right there. Twao cut out with a Molotov in his hands, expecting a defensive posture, but it will not be there. Shen is in a 1 versus 4, and he's just going to be wondering why is this happening again?
What a lockdown from Norot. The missed shot on the AWP, but he makes it absolutely work. That first kill so sharp. Uses the flames as well to make things a bit more difficult. Could not push him. Could barely see over the flames as well. And, well, caught with a nade out. That is unideal. Kyler is still yet to die on this CT side. He's been an elusive little character for the AVEZ lineup, and again, this calls back to Vertigo. We're getting very similar vibes. The fact that it feels as though they're close enough in some of these rounds to just contest the CT side economy, but just not edging out the wins.
Oh, Markosh is positioning. This is really important for him to be able to get the first kill. But he pulls out the Molotov. Markosh, the worst possible time. Kyler's got some flames of his own, and he uses them to get at least one kill. Bialy comes in to follow up, but Kyler can't get more. Suddenly, it's all Mavrot in a 1 versus 2. He did so well in the previous round. Can he bring it all back over here? A flashbang in his pocket and an AK in his hand. This is the T-side roleplay, but can he actually get onto the bomb site and take down the defending terrorists? IZAKO, BOARS, their position is great, but it's not a crossfire, and Navrot has a great flick. 12 left in a 1v1, though, has the advantage, and with that, will be able to get out the duel. Markosh, what unfortunate timing coming out for him.
The round is basically lost on that timing as well. He's holding it for so long. If any of them even consider pushing through that smoke slightly before it fades, he gets a kill, he Molotov the bomb, he just takes a different angle. That is the worst thing that could have happened to AVEZ there, but credit where credit's due. Shen was really important in getting that round for the IZAKO BOARS. Even with him getting those 3 kills, came out into a clutch situation that had to be won out. The BOARS have had to cut some corners. They've had to cut some costs. AVEZ is on a Galil. They've expended a lot of utility to get a bit more of control. Their belts are a little thin. They're a little light.
Markosh, he's not.
Surely
he's
not again.
Go. Oh no, no, Markosh. He's repositioned. At least he's not dead, and he does find one on the cross. But Markosh just can't catch a break. Wow, now will take down Kyler. A 4 versus 4 will quickly be brought back in the favor of the CTs. Bialy flashes Shui, but Shui's scrap past in the smoke. Shui's going to be insanely important, but in the meanwhile, his teammates are dropping and the bomb isn't planted for him. The question is, can they take down Shen? His positioning is incredibly difficult to deal with, especially with Shui in the backlines, but Markosh is expecting it, and with it, he will go down. And the problem over there, Yumi, I'm sorry I'm not giving you this airtime for a second, but the problem over there is Markosh looked over because that's generally the time when a flank comes in from Bob Dog. Shui waited so long for the smoke to dissipate, and a few seconds after that by that time, Markosh is going to check that anyway. And if people are checking things anyway, why don't you guys go out and check out our partners over at Hellcase anyway, because they've got you a great little coupon code as well. It's Malta V15. And if you're wondering what Hellcase is, they're the biggest and most known case opening website with almost 100 cases, updated case battle, upgrader, dozens of giveaways per month, and more absolutely unique features. You won't get bored with Hellcase. Use promo codes to save more and grab what you can.
Exactly the mantra for IZAKO BOARS. They get these plants, they're on that loss bonus, so they just keep buying into it. They're being dealt a pretty poor hand at the moment, but they're getting close enough. They're getting these opportunities where, could the stars align a little bit better, they could edge out some wins, but at the moment, things are just continuing to spiral out of control. At the very least, they've kept the CT side economy somewhat modest, so as soon as they start picking up some steam, there's the opportunity for easier rounds. But Toho has had a pretty poor showing for this round. He's been tagged down to 13 HP. It seems like, once again, they're posturing up for some semblance of a B hit. This actually may be a bit of a feint, especially when they had that Ivy presence, but they're really hoping that a lurking play can find an advantage for them.
Well, K in the meanwhile coming in from behind. He's hunting. He smells someone. That someone is Shen. Navrot as well to take down Exus. And Navrot, well, he's just backing off and waiting for the T's to make another mistake. And indeed, there it is. But Navrot, it turns out he's the one who's tripped on his feet. But Bialy is right back behind him to pick him up. AVEZ left on a 1v4. And although they've gotten the bomb plant, they can't get much more. AVEZ is doing some good damage. But Yumi, you're saying they're getting close. But I'm going to go out on a limb here, Yumi. And I'm going to do something I don't do very often. I'm going to quote a modern day philosopher. I'm going to quote a great man. Yeah. That's Nick Jonas to say that close ain't close enough. They can hardly breathe. Now, baby, look what they started.
I hate you. You said modern philosopher, and I was like, oh, I wonder who this is going to be. And you're like, Nick Jonas.
Now, baby, look what you started.
Oh. The last few rounds, or last couple have been, yeah, they've been pretty rough. But I just feel like there is that playmaking potential. Listen, the Jonas brothers are not getting back together. I don't care.
They did though, and AVEZ has taken K down in the meanwhile. Markosh will get the response, and 12 is left in the 1v4, which gives us time to talk about the Jonas brothers.
It's just not the same. It's just not the same.
Look, that one song that came out was actually really good though. The one that topped the charts when it came out. They went which is all their songs.
Please don't turn this into a music stream.
Yet. One day.
Yet.
But we have to go back to Counter-Strike for now. We can't quite live in our fantasies of the Jonas Brothers. It is going to be IZAKO BOARS who are simulating their Vertigo experience and coming back to the exact same scoreline. This could be a 9-1 over here and probably should be. The question is, can they bring it back from there? Even just a smidgen. Whoa! That's a cool flashbang. And a Nova comes in. K is down. Bialy to fall with him.
Right then, so they get the production out of the sword off. That is certainly one way to get an advantage, or at least some sort of space on the site, but Shane needs to pull up big. Exus as well, there's that lurking player towards the old hell, and I don't think Shane's going to get too much done. They rush him down, and there's Marcos on his AWP. AVEZ are just having a field day on this CT site. Another 9-1 start, a mirror image of how things were on Vertigo.
IZAKO BOARS in a dicey situation, to say the least. They did start to bring things back a little bit on Vertigo, but the difference is right now the money's very good on the CT side, so a little bit harder than then. And even so, the first thing you need to do is actually win this round. And, well, Markosh does miss the early shot at the very least and does get mollied out of position, so maybe we can see something, but even so, no real control given up so far by the CTs.
Nope, Norot gonna be the first to face, and Shui hits the deck. Okay, Bialy sharp and covering his teammate, finds the kill right through him. They're losing numbers on the IZAKO BOARS side, but look at the pacing from them. They're slowed down so significantly by those frags, and Norot just keeps pushing forward. In fact, so much confidence brimming from him. He wanted it all. And there's not really much of a chance. AVEZ. The flash. Oh, he's going for the knife. This is embarrassment. AVEZ is able to punish at the very least, but that's gonna throw some mental spanners in the works. That is a statement to be made.
Listen, man, I'm just disappointed that the CTs didn't follow through, because if you're rushing him down with knives and he's got an AWP, he's getting shanked. That's just going to be happening. But 10-1 is there. AVEZ are heavily in the advantage, and this is the part where we start to think, in the second half, what are the odds going to be from our partners at LootBet? Because right now it's not looking good for IZAKO BOARS. They look like they could be the victims of a very quick demise at this rate. AKs in hand, they're trying to get aggressive. Markosh is saying, you know what, I'm actually going to re-peek you guys a couple of times, so why don't you come over once again and I'll find you. Instead he decides to back off, and Shen will catch him off. The smoke is there and it distracts him temporarily. It's enough for Bialy to take him down, and it's a 4v3 that ensues afterwards. Bialy waiting for the push, will catch off AVEZ, who's trying to get cute.
Nope, Soundkey's given up. K pushes the advantage. The bomb dropped and exposed. Sui a 1 versus 4. He does have a sound cue as well, so he knows Kylo's rotating in, but he takes and misses out on the duel. That's kind of been the story for most of this series, is that AVEZ are just outclassing them when it comes to the duels that they're taking and the way that they're getting the advantages. And it doesn't seem like IZAKO BOARS are fighting back. I can see the argument to be made. Yes, it's a CT-sided map, but you expect at least closer rounds, or at least better production out of winning. Well, I think is the small blip on the radar for IZAKO BOARS, the fact they've got 1 round, that could have compounded into a couple more, but it has to be these rolling starts for the BOARS, and they're just not getting the consistency. And to start the round off, AVEZ bombard middle, and they get an opening frag.
I mean, rolling start is pretty close to getting rolled over, right? So, kind of getting there. Chen does find 1 kill in the middle of the chaos, picks up the AUG as well. 1v3 seems fairly unlikely at this stage, and with Markosh coming in from the side, we will see why. 12-1 scoreline is it's a beautiful thing, depending on what side you like, and AVEZ, if you're a fan of theirs, well, you are clapping your hands out in delight, because IZAKO BOARS don't really have much to show for themselves, and realistically, it's a combination of firepower and setup both, to be honest. It's not even just one thing. It's that, hey, you're consistently trying to get control through Ivy where it's not giving you anything. You're consistently failing to really make anything of the fact that your players, your Shen is always has T-Gun control and gets aggressive too. And you can't punish Navrot because he's just been balling out of control with the AWP. He's the one who's been getting aggressive, playing a true secondary op style of play. The very old school type as well. As Markosh comes in, Navrot's got 3.
Oh my goodness.
And this is so reminiscent of the old 2016 days when your secondary AWP was not the turret. Your secondary AWP will just go forward and get it hyper aggressive at times and get some kills. It is what it is. So 13-1, man.
I'm half convinced we should just show a black screen. We'll narrate the action. This is not suitable for TV audiences. This is a brutalization.
Yes.
IZAKO BOARS have never really had strong advantages in their favor this entire map.
Even the 1 round they won was because Markosh just scoped out at a wrong time. Like, he just got timinged.
And it still came to a 1-on-1.
Yeah.
There's always that chance. Counter-Strike is a fickle mistress. You can swap over to the other side of the map, maybe be as successful, but it is just not seeming likely. AVEZ have really come here to play now that we're in semi-final territory. See if they can at least get a little bit more breathing room, get themselves a 2nd round. Good start from Bialy. You'll finish off the frag. Marcos is still hitting shots. It's not looking likely the further we get into this shade, able to eliminate one of these troublesome players, but Exis and Sui, they don't really have too much map control to speak of. Exis, a great position to be taking to force the fights, but IZAKO BOARS get absolutely shut out on their T side.
I want to see what the loop bet odds are going to be. I think it might be worse than the scoreline is.
It might just. So I'm trying to remember that. I think it was 1-16 or something.
Oh, okay.
It is slightly better. I mean, you can't get 0.3 of a round, so
it's true. So all right, it's pretty similar. It's pretty. I think I get the formula now for loop bet. 14-1. I'm not gonna lie. This might be over.
Well, if they want any chance, the pistol is a good place to start, but a bad start is what they'll be met with. AVEZ are just railing them with the Glocks to start. AVEZ will try to answer back, but Exis is alone. That's it. That's the round. 15-1. We could just see a flat-out 16-1 victory on our 2nd map of the semi-finals here. This is really about securing the final spot, and this is not what you wanted to see if you're an IZAKO BOARS fan. We were talking about it in the pregame, that upward trajectory that they've been finding themselves on, but now that they're fighting against home soil, AVEZ just seem to have such a better read and better confidence coming into the game.
Look, I think they might just be the better team right now. That's being perfectly honest. It's not even a controversial thing to say over here, but hey, listen, on the bright side for IZAKO BOARS, they have secured themselves $2,500 so far by being top 4, but let's see whether they can maybe get at least a couple of rounds in here, you know, give themselves some confidence. Shen, Deagle at the ready, but he's just waiting for them to peek out, okay? Says, you know what, CT side, you don't have much of a buy. You have to make a move. You guys get to go in first. So AVEZ, very patient. They realize that the game is probably theirs, but hey, no real reason to give the CTs any sort of an advantage just in case, you know, anything's technically possible. Ben, waiting for the peek forward. Bialy, however, will not reveal themselves, and it is going to be very much down. Can Shui get the God of Lightning to work? Shui looking to move forward. And unfortunately, turns out he's got the wrong might toss because that is a weak Zeus. Shui left alone, will die 16-1.